All right, how's everybody doing today? Thanks for joining us on the page. I'm not going to get into the details of what we're all about. You know, if you read our the headline at the top of the page, you'll know what we're doing here, and just read the introduction and you'll understand. Most of you that are here already know what the page is all about. Um, so today we just wanted to just do a follow-up video on a couple of the videos that we've already done. We feel as though we missed a couple of important parts that we think you'd be interested in, just for knowledge sake. That's all. Just so you know. Um, so what we're gonna do, I know the last couple videos we did, we're basically showing clipped radio, or even a cranked radio, where they just crank the modulation up, just to show you all those watts on the watt meter, okay? And really, you really don't gain anything, and I'm going to show you that today. Uh, the max PEP on this radio, and we're using a General Lee, okay? Just your basic Ranger board. Just say there's multiple radios that use the same board. Anyway, so like I said, what we're going to show is how the difference between your low dead key and your high dead key, and how there should be, no matter where you set your dead key. This radio only has a high and a low, so not much different than a radio that has a variable power on it. Okay. Obviously, you can be a little more finicky about where you put your power when you have the variable. So this radio today, it's going to be high and low, and that's all it's going to be. But it won't be any different than with a variable. So, like I said, we're going to show you how it should be a nice smooth transition, 4-to-1 ratio between your dead key and your PEP. Okay, and then we'll try to get into showing you the radio clipped again, and how your low dead key will swing the same as your high dead key. And this is where the trickery is. Actually, the trickery is using the microphone compared to a tone, because you're always going to get more out of a microphone. Just the way the AMC circuit works in the radio, it can't keep up with the frequencies in your voice, so like it can with a nice steady tone. So that's what creates those. I guess you could call them fake watts. Okay. So anyway, we're gonna just start off with the radio in low, with your 2-watt dead key. Okay. There's your 2-watt dead key. Scope. There's your 2-watt dead key on the almighty meter. Okay. Give it a tone. Nice, clean, 100% modulation, and from 2 watts to 8 watts. There's your 4-to-1. Okay. Now we'll show you on high. This is going to be an 8-watt dead key. Okay. 8-watt dead key. I'll just keep it up here just to show you. And right up there over 25. It really should be about 28, but some radios tune in just a little different than others. This one just happens to be up around 26, where it should be 28. And again, that could be just the variation in the meters. All meters are a little different. You could have 10 bird meters lined up side by side. They're all going to read a little different, no matter what anybody tells you. It's just a fact. They're just a voltmeter, and they have tolerances like everything else. So that was your low and your high dead keys with a 4-to-1 ratio. I'll show you something that I find is pretty interesting, because these guys will clip the radio and tell you they're getting more watts out of it. Well, I'm going to kind of prove that theory a little wrong, and I guess it depends on what radio you're actually running, how much PEP or wattage, if you want to call it that you actually gain by clipping the radio, by modifying the radio, whatever they want to call it. I think a lot of guys call it a negative peak compression. Well, you can't compress the negative peaks any further than 0. All you do is widen that gap. You don't compress them anymore. 0 is 0, and that's it. They can't go down any more than 0. So NPC is it's a made-up word, just to unfortunately, and I hate to be so brutal about it, but it's basically to take your money. Is basically all it is. And the radios really sound horrible when they're clipped like that. Like I'm going to show you. I'm going to clip this radio at the end here. I just want to show you. So on a high watt, 8 watt dead key, I'll show you what the radio's swinging. Hello, audio. Check. Breaker. And I'm not hollering into the microphone. I'm just talking normal into the microphone, so we can safely say, 35, 40 watts. Hello. Breaker. And that's the same nice clean signal. Haven't done anything. I haven't touched the radio. Haven't done anything to it. And you're going to get the same at a low. Okay. 2 watt dead key. Hello. You can see the AMC working there. It's making it swing up there about 20. But that's just how the circuitry works. So give me a second, and we'll get this thing clipped out real quick. See if we can't show you what you get. And there's a couple. The transistor that I'm removing out of the circuit is just one of many that can be removed. There's multiple places to do the same modification. I just happened to choose this one. This one actually really shows you the best how it's going to flatline and how it's going to flat top at the same time. It's the most common. It's a TR32. It's the most common one that they take out of the radio, and it really doesn't do the radio any good. Actually, this is one of the worst ones, because this is the one that creates the flat topping more than the rest of them. So we've got the component out of the radio now. Okay, we'll show you. We're back down to the 2 watt dead key. Okay. All right. There you go. That's what you get. That's even worse than flat topping. Okay. See that? And look at the flat line. And like I said in the past videos, that is dead air. That is the transistors in the radio shutting off, and you can see how dirty it got. Okay, on the spectrum, it's horrible. Okay, so that's on low. Now we'll give you the 8 watt dead key. Okay, and the alarm's going off. Run. So there's your 8 watt dead key, and there it is on high. I'll bring that down so you can see it a little better. Alright, pretty much the same waveform as it was on low, just obviously an 8 watt dead key, just a little taller. But that is what you get when you clip the radio. And like I said, there's other components that can be clipped out of the radio, which actually don't allow it to flat top like that. But TR32, the one that I just removed, just happens to be the most popular. Okay, like I said, there's probably 3 or 4 others along the circuit that can be taken out that pretty much do the same thing, and a few components that can be added that really don't do anything, but they add them anyway just to make it sound like they're doing something for you. So you remember what we had when the radio was clean. We had an 8-watt dead key swinging about 35 on high. Okay, so here's your 8-watt dead key again. Okay. Hello, audio check, 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 check. Breaker, 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 breaker. Audio check. And I'm just talking into the microphone normal. We've gained nothing. Hello, audio check. Hello, audio check. Break, break, break. Okay. Yep, maybe up there around 40. So you gained probably 2 watts. The trickery comes in when they show you the 2-watt dead key. Okay? I'm going to try to do this with the mic gain down so you can actually see the 2-watt dead key. Okay, there's your 2-watt dead key. Here comes the trickery. Hello, audio, check, 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 break, 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 break. Audio, breaker, 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 breaker. Right up there around 30, 35. You know, it's not quite 40, but it's still, I think you get the drift. That's totally wrong. And a lot of guys are doing this, and they're doing this negative peak compression thing. This is what they're calling it, and they're lowering that dead key. They could even, they could probably, a lot of them are even lowering it down to a 1-watt dead key and sending the radio home and telling you you're all set to go run your amplifier. Well, unless it's a real big amplifier, you start swinging 35 watts into it, eventually it's going to overheat and it's going to pop. There's no way around that. Eventually it's going to happen. Will it happen in the first day? Probably not. But eventually it's going to happen. And this is, you hear these guys all the time. Oh, that thing gets so hot I can fry eggs on it. Well, that's because you're swinging 38 watts into it, 35 watts into it, So that whole negative peak compression thing is just not a good thing. It ruins everything. It ruins the radio. It weakens the components in the radio. And if you end up hooking the radio up to an amplifier, it's going to overdrive that amplifier and make it run hot. There's no way around it. So anyway, I hope that kind of shows a little more detail in how the low and high dead key is supposed to have the perfect 4-to-1, and I shouldn't use the word perfect because nothing's ever perfect, but basically a 4-to-1 ratio, and then how it being clipped should not be swinging the same on low as it does on high. So like I said, all that's going to do is fry everything, and people wonder why their radios run hot. Okay, everything's going to run hot. The radio's going to run hot. The amplifier's going to run hot. So I hope you got something out of that. It was just like I said, just a quick video, just to kind of update the other 2 videos on a couple of things that we missed. And I think the most important thing that we missed was just showing you how no matter where you set your dead key, you should always get a 4-to-1 ratio out of it. Some radios a little more, but not a whole lot more, and I will guarantee you that your radio will sound and last a whole lot longer. I'm sure a lot of people have heard that, and it's not just one radio, it's multiple radios, but you've heard that one radio, where the guy's talking and you really don't even feel like answering him because the thing sounds so horrible you don't even want to listen to it. But he thinks it sounds good on his talkback. Okay, and that's another thing. You can't go by your talkback. What your talkback is putting out is not the same that's coming out of the antenna. I can hear what's coming out of the antenna. I got a headset that's in line with my coax, and I can hear the difference between a modified radio and a clean radio, and you would not believe the huge difference. You really wouldn't. And like I said, if you're using your talkback as your indicator of what your radio sounds like going out over the air, you're getting false indications on that, because it's definitely not the same. So anyway, hopefully that helped you out, and you got something out of it. And I guess we'll just see you on the next video, and have a good day. Thank you.